fellow warrior. So, in this episode, we're going to be going through one of the best fucking protein shakes you will ever come up with. The protein shake I like to call the Berserker's Delight. Alright, so this sort of plays into a big part of our philosophy of being holistically hardcore, right? Which a subcategory of that would be variety is the spice of life. So when we go to make our protein shakes, we want to make sure that we're getting a complete range of amino acids. Amino acids are the base constituents that make up proteins, okay? Now, vegan-based protein, which is what we're going to do here, even though this is a fantastic complete source of it, can have parts missing in terms of its amino acid profile, as can collagen, okay? But what you'll find is that they may be really high in something that's unique to them. So for instance, this is really high in glycine, okay? So we throw in two different types of proteins to make sure we're completing that and getting a really broad spectrum of amino acids to make the food whole. That's what we mean by whole foods. It's actually complete at the base level of it. Okay, so the Berserker's Delight. What we've got here is a vegan-based protein. This is the Power Plant protein from Prana On Nutrition. They make pretty much everything, I believe. Yeah, everything is vegan-based, and this is fantastic. The owner of the company is actually a former natural Mr. Olympia himself, which means bodybuilding legend, Billy Simmons. Vegan warrior, not that we're vegan here, but all we tout is that if it works for you, we'll then practice it. But I have found this protein to be absolutely fantastic. Himalayan salted caramel is to die for as well, and really good in terms of digestibility. I don't process whey-based products, or most of them anyway, very well, and nor do most people, and that's a video for a whole nother time. So what we do is we put a scoop of that in, a scoop, or sorry, I should say 2 tablespoons of collagen, and we're going to also combine that with a dark drinking chocolate. Okay, this is just to give it a little bit more oomph, a bit of flavor. Cacao is absolutely fantastic for antioxidants as well, which is really what we want post-exercise. Obviously, we've been exercising, breathing quite heavily. We've got that storage of lactic acid. We've got a lot of what's known as oxidative stress, right? So we want antioxidants to help with removing the byproducts of oxidative stress, lactic acid, metabolic waste, things like that, and so that we can kickstart the recovery process as quick as possible. Okay. Now I get a dark drinking chocolate because it's also got a bit of coconut nectar in there, so something a little bit sweet. Actual raw cacao is actually quite bitter, so this is really quite nice, and we use that and that as well for our tribal hot chocolate, which we'll do in the next video. But first, a little trick I learned from Batman. We're actually going to be adding eggshells, raw eggshells, okay? So the reason for this is because, well, they're a really good source of protein, obviously, but eggshells are probably one of the most bioavailable sources of calcium, okay? Bioavailable just means that whatever's actually in there, most of it will get absorbed from your body, okay? Now, there's this big misconception that you get most of your calcium from milk. Now, that's true, provided that the dairy is raw. In other words, meaning unpasteurized, okay? In most places in Australia, it's actually illegal to sell dairy being raw, okay? You can get it. They actually have like cold processed milk now, which is probably a better option. But if it's been pasteurized, then most of the nutrients in there are actually dead, okay? So avoid that. And you'll get more calcium from a cup of kale than you would from a cup of milk, okay? So we add in eggshells for a good calcium hit. Okay, that's going to help to fortify our bones on a deeper level. And just a note with the calcium, guys, it needs vitamin K2 and vitamin D3 to help with absorption and assimilation, okay? Now, you get vitamin D3 from sunlight. What happens is the sunlight actually hits your skin and it converts the cholesterol in your skin into vitamin D3 and then circulates that through your body. And vitamin K2 you can get from a wide range of green leafy vegetables. Don't need to worry about the big words and sourcing supplements. Your body will get it better from whole foods anyway, and organic, remember, as opposed to supplements. Unless, of course, there is a major shortfall, then we can look at incorporating supplements. But remember, guys, supplement is just that. It means on top of, not instead of, okay? So we've got some eggshells in here. And what we're going to do, blend that shit up. Okay, so this sometimes takes a bit of time. I would actually recommend using a NutriBullet or a coffee grinder. I think you'll find it'll actually work a lot better for you. But this does do the trick. This takes a little bit of time in the food processor. Note to self, it doesn't work in a food processor. But luckily, we've got this, a NutriBullet imitation, if you like. Alright, so transport into NutriBullet after attempting in the food processor. Alright. Alright, so what you want to do now, guys, once you get your eggshells all crushed up, is you want to add about 2-3 teaspoons of collagen. Okay. About 2 teaspoons of cacao. And then you scoop the protein. Bung that on. Make sure it's not leaking. We're good. Alright, and whip it up. Whip it real good. Alright, and I think we're good. Take that. Oh, makes my Berserker happy. Little crunchy, but it's good. Bottoms up. This one is really, really super simple. All you're doing is just collagen. Again, about 2 to 3 teaspoons, I should say. If it's after training, you might want to add tablespoons, so you get a bit bigger, more of a dose of protein, and then add in your cacao. Okay, so this one's going to be really good for just as like if you're after a snack during the day, or even if you need something like that tiny bit sweet after dinner, and fantastic, obviously, great source of protein as well. And all you do is just take boiling water, drop that in, stir it, and then drink up, buttercup. Yeah, it's hot. It's hot.